Listen, I know you think your 144 Hz IPS panel is fine, but while you're waiting for your liquid crystals to physically rotate like a slow ceiling fan, the QD-OLED player already sent you back to the respawn screen. Let's stop pretending that all 1 millisecond monitors are created equal. If you're still rocking a TN IPS or VA panel, you aren't just playing on an old screen. You're playing behind a physical barrier. You see, LCD technology is inherently mechanical. Behind that glass, billions of liquid crystals have to physically twist, turn, and tilt to block or let through light from a backlight. It's like trying to play Call of Duty through a set of motorized window blinds. Even the most expensive fast IPS panels on the market are fighting the laws of physics. It takes time for those crystals to move. We call this response time, and while the box says 1 millisecond, real-world testing shows they often take 3 to 7 milliseconds to actually finish a color transition. Enter QD-OLED. There are no crystals, no shutters, no mechanical movement. Each pixel is an organic diode that creates its own light and switches electrically. We're talking about a transition speed of 0.03 milliseconds. To put that in perspective, a QD-OLED is roughly 100 times faster than the fastest LCD ever built. When the signal hits, the pixel changes, period. Now you might say, but my IPS monitor is 360 Hz. That's faster than your 240 Hz OLED. Wrong. This is the great Hertz lie of the monitor industry. Refresh rate is just how often the screen tries to draw a new image. Response time is how long it takes to actually finish drawing it. On a 360 Hz LCD, the pixels are often still transitioning from the previous frame when the next frame arrives. This creates ghosting, that blurry trail behind a sprinting soldier in Battlefield. It effectively lowers your motion clarity. A 240 Hz QD-OLED actually has superior motion clarity to a 360 Hz or even some 500 Hz LCDs. Because the QD-OLED pixel reaches its target color almost instantly at the very start of the frame, the image stays perfectly sharp for the entire duration of that refresh. In Overwatch 2, when a tracer blinks across your screen, she isn't a neon smudge. She's a crisp, targetable entity. You aren't just seeing more frames, you're seeing accurate frames. Let's talk about Peaker's advantage and why QD-OLED makes you the predator, not the prey. In competitive shooters, every millisecond of input latency matters. Modern LCDs, especially those with mini LED backlights, have to use complex processors to manage local dimming zones. This adds processing lag. End-to-end testing shows that QD-OLEDs consistently shave 5 to 10 milliseconds off your total system latency compared to high-end LCDs. Why? Because QD-OLED is self-emissive. There is no backlight middleman to talk to. When an opponent peeks a corner in modern warfare, that 10 milliseconds advantage, combined with the instant pixel response, means you see their shoulder clearly while the LCD player is still looking at a blurry update of an empty wall. Your brain processes a sharp image faster than a blurry one. You aren't just getting the data sooner. Your brain is reacting to it faster. This is hardware-level cheating legally. Then there's the visual quality. Let's pour one out for VA panels. They have decent contrast, but they suffer from dark smearing. When something dark moves across a gray background, the crystals can take 30 to 50 milliseconds to recover. It's like playing through a bowl of ink. QD-OLED uses quantum dots over an OLED substrate. This means you get the infinite contrast of true blacks, because the pixel literally turns off, combined with the most vibrant colors in human history. In Battlefield 6, you can actually see an enemy hiding in a dark corner because the contrast ratio is effectively infinite to 1. On an LCD, that corner is just a glowing, gray mess of backlight bleed. You get the best image quality on the market and the fastest performance. It's the only time in tech where you don't have to compromise. Now let's get into the hidden lag, input latency. This is the time it takes for your PC's signal to actually reach the screen and be processed by the monitor's brain. On a modern LCD, especially those with fancy mini LED backlighting, the monitor has to calculate how to dim thousands of zones to match the image. This adds massive processing overhead. End-to-end testing with tools like NVIDIA's LDAT shows that high-end LCDs often have 10 to 15 milliseconds of internal processing lag. QD-OLED is a direct drive technology. Because every pixel is its own light source, there is no backlight controller to talk to. The signal goes from your GPU straight to the pixels with zero hesitation. In SDR mode, QD-OLEDs consistently measure under 2 milliseconds of total display lag. When you combine that with the 0.03 millisecond pixel response, you are shaving a massive 10 to 12 milliseconds off your total system latency. That's not just a number, that is a hardware-level peaker's advantage. So, how does this actually translate to your KD? Let's look at the lineup. In Call of Duty, Black Ops 6 and 7, the new Omni movement means enemies are diving and sliding in every direction. On an LCD, that movement is a blurred mess. On a QD-OLED, it's a sharp animation you can track with pinpoint accuracy. In tactical shooters like Valorant or CSGO, where holding an angle is life or death, that 10 millisecond latency reduction directly combats peaker's advantage. When an enemy swings around a corner, you see their shoulder clearly while the LCD player is still seeing the previous frame's empty wall. In Overwatch 2, where visual effects are constantly exploding, the infinite contrast of QD-OLED prevents light bleed. You can track a pharaoh in the sky even while an ultimate is going off in your face. In Battlefield 6, those massive maps mean enemies are often tiny, distant pixels. Because QD-OLED doesn't have the gray filter effect of LCD backlights, those distant targets pop against the background. You aren't just reacting faster, you're acquiring targets that were previously invisible in the smear. So, let's put the final numbers on the board and look at the mathematical gap between victory and a respawn screen. When you switch from a modern LCD to a QD-OLED, you aren't just getting a prettier picture. You are removing a massive layer of hardware friction. While your 1 millisecond IPS or TN panel is actually taking 3 to 7 milliseconds to physically twist its liquid crystals, the QD-OLED is finishing that same transition in just 0.03 milliseconds. That is a 100 times speed advantage in pixel response alone. Then there's the input latency math. By removing the backlight processing tax, you're shaving 10 to 12 milliseconds off your total end-to-end system lag. Combine that with the fact that a 240 Hz QD-OLED delivers better motion clarity than a 500 Hz LCD, and you realize the Hertz on the box has been lying to you for years. In games like Overwatch 2 or Call of Duty, where human reaction times hover around 150 to 200 milliseconds, a 15 millisecond total hardware advantage is massive. It gives you a literal peaker's advantage, because you're seeing a sharp, clear target while the LCD player is still looking at a blurry smear from the previous frame. The era of the mechanical liquid crystal is over. Between the infinite contrast ratio, the 99% DCI-P3 color accuracy, and the near-zero latency, QD-OLED is the only choice for competitive play. Stop playing with a 10 millisecond handicap and start seeing the game in real time. Because in the world of pro shooters, speed isn't just a luxury, it's life.